It's a lot easier than using the pen tool. Let's go ahead and delete that. The logo I'm going to be designing for you today is for a company called Corel Draw. In short, Corel Draw is a company that helps you register for job sites like Monster and Career Builder. This is what the final product would look like, and it's very, very simple design. And today I will be showing you the process, taking your hand and showing you the process on how I constructed this using Corel Draw. Now, when you first think of the word claw, you may think of like a bear claw, but I did my research and did a lot of thinking and thought about the claw machine. And since this is a business that helps you register and, puts you to the front of, it's going to try to put you to the front of the job searching list, I figured having a claw over 2 resumes would be a simple idea and help brand the company. And it's an uber simple design. And I hope that you can learn something from this and apply it to your own logo, to your own brand. Because once you have that, once you have a brand and an image you like, it excites you and motivates you. This is a great starting point because this is what you want to build your business around, your brand image. So let's get started. Let's exit out of this. No, we don't need to save that. To open a new page, go to File, New, and let's name it Claw Logo. Preset custom, any size, just as long as it's 72 DPI, RGB because it's going to be exported for online and things like that. And it's going to be just black and white, so we could keep it simple. Preview mode, enhanced, to get the best view out of what you're making. If you were to go to pixels, you'd see every pixel, and then wireframe is just the outline of your entire image, and I'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so normal. Any size will do. I just like using letter. I usually build my logos off to the side anyway, but it's really a user preference. Okay. So the first thing I like to do is I like to zoom in, because if I'm zoomed out, I'm making the files really large, and it's just going to take up a lot of memory on my computer. So I'm going to zoom in. It's pretty far actually, but not too far, because when it comes to when we're making the resume and we're doing the bumps with our keys, we want to make sure we have a nice bump when we use our arrows. Okay. So let's start by deleting this and creating a rectangle. This is going to be one of our resumes in the logo. Okay, so we created that. Just drag and click, and I'm going to go to the shape tool, and I'm going to give the rectangle a bit of a curved edge. Now all you need to do is just click once and drag on the black, and it should curve all the edges at once, so nice and easy for you. Alright. Now select it and press the letter P. P is a short code to center it directly on the page. It's very helpful when you're just centering everything into your main page, your main resume page. So with this centered, zoomed in, we're ready to give it an outline. So actually, we're not going to give an outline, we're going to fill it. So let's fill it with black, and let's take out the outline, because when we resize, the outline going to stay the same width. So now that we have our first resume page, let's give it some lines to make it look like there are lines written on the page, to make it look like a piece of paper. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just click and drag, holding shift to give it a straight line. I'm going to drag across the front. You don't have to size it now because we're going to recenter it. And just click there and give it a line. Now it's black in the background, and I want to have it white, so I'm going to go down here to the line color and just go ahead and change that to white and give it more of a pixel width to where I want it to be. That looks about right, but I'm gonna give it one more bump. And you can change the caps of your line, so I'm gonna make them round and click OK. Alright, so we have our line. Let's click it, press P, and center that back. Let's center it in the image. Let's center this as well too. So now that we have them centered, let's go ahead and click on your line and press Ctrl D to duplicate the image. Now since that isn't center, I'm going to press P again and center it over my previous line. And now I'm going to give it some spacing, so I'm going to bump it up, holding shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bump it up around 10. And then I'm just going to keep doing that until I have a nice even set of lines. Let's go one more on each. I'm holding down shift when I'm making these lines to give it more of a bump. If you just bumped it once, it would give it a smaller bump. So okay, now that we have all the lines on the thing and they're all even, let's select them all and let's group them so they're all one entity. Okay, so now that we have our first resume, I'm going to go ahead and fix it a little bit. Since they're all selected, I'm going to bump them down a little bit to give them more of a margin up top. And I think I'm going to change the width back from 5 to 4. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I'm going to keep it like that. And go ahead and just group everything. Now if we look back to our original logo, oh, that's not it. We have 2. That's a bit spaced out more, but we'll continue with this. So with that selected and everything grouped, I'm going to go ahead and press Control D, duplicate that, and we have them a bit tilted. So to tilt something, you just click it once and these arrows will come up, and holding down Shift, holding down Control will give it an even tilt. So you could tilt it 90 degrees, 45, and I'm going to go ahead and tilt it just like that. And do the same with the other side. Now for some reason it's a bit gritty, so I'm going to check and see my view, and it's on normal. Normal is just going to keep it a little bit pixelated. I'll go through this simple wireframe. As you can see, those are the lines. That's the line of the rectangle, and then wireframe gives it the same thing. Usually if you'd have 2 boxes, you'd see the line on the inside as well. But I'm going to go to enhance, so everything is nice and smooth looking. Now the lines we created in the paper are literally just lines in the program. We want to make them an object, because when they're an object and we make this big and small, they're going to grow with the object instead of staying the width of the line, which was 4 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup both of these and select my lines. Okay, I got them. And I'm going to go up to, I'm going to ungroup them all first and convert the outline to object. So now all these lines are objects. Now watch as I make it bigger, the line gets bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and group them back together, this set and this set, just by selecting them. If you end up selecting the whole thing with the black background, you can just hit Shift and click on that to deselect it, and go ahead and group those together. And then once that's grouped together, we're going to group them with their paper father. So I'm going to go ahead and center these again, and then slide it over. So it looks like they're crossing one on top of each other. Use my arrow keys to nudge them. Okay, now that I have that, let's build the frame around them, the box. We have a nice simple claw box here for the obvious crane that's going to pick up the resumes and pick up your resume because it was done with Career Claw. So let's go ahead and create another rectangle around the 2 resumes. I'm going to group these 2 and center them. Now, when you want to size something from the center, hold down shift and you're able to do that, and it'll shift and everything from the center point, and that's how it will size itself. So I'm going to bring it down to about there. And give it another curved edge and add some thickness to it. Oh, maybe more than that. That looks about right. Perfect. Actually, let's slide down a little bit. Now, the reason why I choose to give it an outline instead of creating two boxes and cutting it out is because when you let's not do that. Because when you do that and shrink it from the center, it gives it a thicker border up top and thinner ones on the side. The outline gives it an even line pretty much all the way around. Now remember, since this is an outline, we have to convert it to curves, to an object, so that when we make it big and large, the line is not going to stay the same. It's going to shrink and grow with how we make it. All right, let's go back to there. Arrange, convert outline to object, and now it will grow with the size of our image. Now that I have the main part of the logo done, I'm going to actually fix it up a little bit. See, I've turned this into curves now. So if I were to make it smaller, it would shrink at these two edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the shape tool and select the nodes. Now these nodes are what make up the two curves in the line, and then these two sides. And I'm just going to use my shift key, my arrow key, and bump them down a little bit. So everything stays the same, and I'm able to move the claw, the box, smaller and closer to the resumes. And I could even bump each side in a little bit. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go 3 on that side. The keys and shift. 1, 2, 3 on that side. And I still think it could be bumped down a little bit more. Let's do 4 there. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and group that and then duplicate it, put it off to the side. So any further changes we make to this, we could always go back to our reference. Now I'm going to go ahead and block that little passageway with my line tool. And combine it with the background. Oh. Oh, that's all grouped, I forgot. Excellent. Now, these are still colored, they're not transparent. So let's go ahead and make these lines transparent so this image can be placed over anything, over any color, and everything will shine through all the white. So let's start by ungrouping this all. So we have our, oh, still ungroup that. Let's ungroup that as well. Okay. Now, since these are objects and this an object, we can do just a simple back minus front, but we have the background of this still there. So let's go ahead. Actually, before I take this a step further, I'm going to save it as claw logo in the folder. It's good to save throughout your work just in case anything happens, like a power outage or your computer decides to freeze up on you. It's good to save, every minute or two, especially if you do something wrong and you could just revert back to your saved file. So now that we have that, we want to make these lines clear, see-through. So in order to do that, let's copy these lines right here. And let's go ahead and select these two and do a back minus front. So what that left us with is the lines cut through the other ones. So if we were to paste it over and cut through the main resume, we have just this one blocking our view. So let's go ahead and reverse that and cut through this resume also, back minus front. Paste it one more time and do our main resume, and we will have a clear background. To show this, I'm going to create a blue rectangle, arrange, changing the order of the object. I'm going to send it to the back of page, and I'm going to just expand it back there. So we have our lines cutting through. These are still here, so let's select them and cut them through that one as well. So now that we have a clear background in this entire logo. So now that we've got the box done and the two resumes inside, let's go ahead and create the claw. It's just a very simple design made from rectangles. Let's center it, bring it up. Now, what's good about Corel, if you go into View and you go into Snap To, you could snap to Objects, Guidelines, Baseline Grid, Document Grid, and it helps when centering objects. So I could select the midpoint from this and drag it over to the midpoint of the claw box. And that helps instead of centering everything all the time, or using a guide is nice too. Using your guides. So you can just line everything up. Bam. Now for the center of the claw, I'm going to create two triangles, duplicate them, and finish that way. So let's start to our polygon tool. And we want points or sides, we want 3 because I'm making a triangle. And let's not give it a an outline. Let's go there, make it black. Duplicate it, Control C or Control V, or just Control D to duplicate it. I'm going to zoom in and line these up. Okay. Group them together. Center them there. Maybe expand them a little bit. Alright. Now I want to create the claw hands, the actual claw itself. So I'm going to use this by creating a line tool. Giving that more of an outline and giving it the circular line cap again. Going here. Oh. Let's duplicate that. Now I want to reverse this. So I'm going to hold down Shift, grab one of the sides, and just flip it like that. Actually, I'm going to center them both. Select them both and drag them up so I can keep them on the same line. I'm going to group them for now just in case I select. Okay. I'm going to now create a box for the center of the claw just by using the line tool. Nice and easy. To connect the line tool, you can click on the edges and the little arrow would come up to show that it's connecting. And I'm just going to connect it to the edges of the two triangles that I connected in the beginning. And then it doesn't really matter up here because I'm going to be blending it in anyway. So let's make that perfect. Now, these are two separate objects. What I want to do is combine these. So I'm going to select them both and go up here and weld them. So it's going to turn them into one big single object. Let's ungroup these guys. Bring them up. Slide them over. Ooh. I'm going to center them like that. And I think they could be a little bit bigger. So let's change the width on these. May have been a little bit too much. Let's go something in between, like 12. Okay, maybe 13. 13. And let's create that center claw. Okay. Now, I'm going to fix just a little bit to give it more of like a clawing feel. Maybe make it a little bit larger. Bring it down. Let's bring it down a little bit more. Okay. Just mess with it until you get that the look you like. It's really about you. It's your personal preference. I think that looks about right. And what makes it even better is that once you've completed and you finally have that product you like, you're motivated. You're motivated to build it and to keep growing. I'm going to try to center this as best I can. Actually, I'm going to group these. Press P, do a little trick, and slide it back up. Okay, perfect. Give it a nudge. Okay. I also remember that these are lines, so we want to go ahead and convert them to curves. Ungroup them. Nope. There we go. Ungroup all. I guess they're all grouped together. Convert that one to object, outline to object, and outline to object. Let's go ahead and group them together. Now all we need is the text to go underneath. Let's go ahead, use the text tool, type out career call. I'm going to use all caps. Center it, use the P trick and bring it down using the shift key so it stays in line. When I do that, I could just drag it up and down without moving it, or left and right. Click on these, hold shift to resize. And let's find a font. I think I used a Lato on the old logo. Lato black, there it is. Recenter it, drag it down, and resize the text as much as you want. Now a cool trick would be to go over into our text properties and change the character spacing so we could expand it or bring it closer together just by moving it up or down. I'm gonna keep it nice and close. Center it again, bring it down, and there you have it. Your brand logo. Now for a little display, let's get this, group this together, let's center this on the page, and let's create a nice little background for it. Center that. Let's choose a light gray for now, and the shortcut to send it to the back is to hold down the shift key and press page down. Page up will bring it to the front, page down will bring it to the top. Page down will put it to the bottom. Now let's add a fountain fill. Radial. Let's go from dark to light in the center. Okay, and we can change how far we want the brightness to go by sliding this up and down. And there you have it. Click on that, delete, and you have completed your first branding logo design. Thank you very much for joining me in this tutorial. It was a pleasure doing this for you all, and I hope you've learned something from it. And don't forget that creating a brand is a very exciting process. Creating a logo is very exciting, because once you have this, once you have something, a visual that you can stand behind and work towards, it just gives you a lot more motivation when it comes to further projects and to building your online business. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of the courses.